everybody. Welcome to our guided meditation today. My name is Stephanie Wagner, and I'm a trainer and program specialist for Healthy Minds Innovations. And thank you so much for joining me today in the midst of these really challenging times. So, we are here to gather together to practice, develop a sense of connection and community, and to train our minds in qualities that are associated with resilience and well being. And I'd love to just get to know you a little bit better. If you've been with us before, you sort of know what we're doing. If you please share with me in the chat where you're from, as well as a word that maybe describes how you're feeling today. And really, any feelings are welcome. And as you're doing that, let me tell you a little bit about Healthy Minds Innovations. We are a nonprofit that's affiliated with the Center for Healthy Minds, a research institution out of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And what we do is we actually take the scientific insights coming out of the Center for Healthy Minds and we translate them into tools to help people both cultivate as well as measure well-being. And each week we've been gathering together to practice around a specific theme that is related to our Healthy Minds model of well-being. And if you're not familiar with our model, you should check it out. It's at tryhealthyminds.org. But essentially, we have 4 different dimensions of well-being that all have associated skills. And these dimensions of well-being are awareness, connection, insight, and purpose. And so our practice theme today is going to be all about compassion. And I don't know how you're doing. I'm sort of waiting to see a check-in in the chat, but I can just share with you that it's been a really challenging weekend. I live in Minneapolis, and just all of the collective suffering and pain and violence that's emerging as a result of the death of George Floyd. I really wanted to actually lead a practice around compassion today, as I'm finding that to be really beneficial in my practice, and really just wanted to offer that up to you as well. So, compassion is one of the skills that we train related to connection. And connection, as I mentioned, is one of the dimensions of our model of well being. And when we talk about compassion, at the core of compassion, it is really this desire, this motivation to be free from suffering, to be free from hardship, to be free from discomfort. And this is an innate part of every single one of us. And compassion is different than other things like empathy and sympathy. And what really makes it different is this motivation to be free from pain. Of course, empathy is necessary because that helps us sort of tune in when we see suffering. We can sort of feel what someone else is feeling, but it's that compassion, it's that motivation to be free, to notice that, and then to be able to make a wise and skillful choice if we're able to act and to be able to help support someone else when they are suffering. So, what we can do is we can actually cultivate the recognition of this innate compassion within us by working with simple phrases like, may I be free from suffering? May I be free from pain? We get in touch with our own experience. We begin to see this desire, this motivation within ourselves. And then we can begin to expand that forth into relationships in our lives, seeing that that same feeling that we have is a feeling that our loved ones have. And then we can begin to notice it in people that we don't know, those people that are working in the grocery store, even on the front lines. And then we expand it even further into people perhaps that we don't like, and then even cultivating sort of this wish for all beings to be free from pain, from suffering, from discomfort. And so, what we're going to do during our practice today is we are going to work on cultivating compassion during difficulties. Now, what I will say is, given the very complex nature of what's going on in the world, you may find that you're having a lot of really challenging feelings, feelings like grief, anger, anxiety. So, whatever is arising is absolutely okay. But as we're working with this practice, I would recommend that you don't work with the most challenging raw emotion that you're having right now if you've never done compassion practice before. If you've done compassion practice before, then absolutely, work with what it in whatever way you feel resonates the most with you today that makes you feel safe and resourced. But if you're not familiar with compassion practice, I would recommend that you start a little bit lighter and then you can actually work your way into working with those more complex and difficult emotions. So my wish for you is that this helps you be with and work with whatever challenges you're experiencing right now, whatever it's related to, and I will guide you step by step along the way. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So find yourself in a comfortable position, seeing if you can just get yourself in a place that feels a bit relaxed yet alert. You might want to place your feet on the ground, place your hands in your lap, and you can choose to practice with your eyes open or your eyes closed. And go ahead and take a couple of slow, deep breaths. As you're exhaling, allow the body to relax, if only just a little bit. And then take a moment to reflect on your motivation for practicing today and to see if you can see that underlying wish that you have to be happy, for things to be better, to be free from pain and discomfort. And see if, as you're tapping into that feeling, that motivation, to wish to extend that forth, that you're practicing right now, not only to relieve your own suffering, but also to help to relieve the suffering of others. So take a moment to cultivate that compassionate motivation. And of course, the basis for everything that we do here is awareness. So let's ground ourselves in the present by bringing awareness to some aspect of your experience right now. Might be sensations in the body, it might be the breath, or some sound, something coming in through your senses. So simply notice one of those things as an opportunity to become present and aware. We're not trying to fix or alter our experience in any way, simply noticing with awareness and letting it be. You might notice your mind is really active or maybe quite peaceful. Whatever's happening is okay. Simply using something in your experience to become present and aware. Remembering those moments that you get lost in thought, simply reconnecting with your practice, bringing attention back to whatever you're working with to support your awareness practice. And so let's begin our compassion practice with something small and notice something in your body that feels unpleasant or uncomfortable. It might be a little pain, an itch, something that feels not quite right in your body. And notice your mind's response to this discomfort, this desire for it to go away, for it to be different. Here we're connecting with this innate compassion through something small, sensations in the body. And so begin to generate compassion for yourself in this moment by using perhaps phrases like, may I be free from discomfort. So, whatever phrase feels right for you, you can simply recite it silently in your mind. Or if you're connecting more with that sort of felt sense of compassion, you can just rest your mind there as well. So take a few moments to generate compassion in whatever way you feel the most connected to. May I be free from discomfort. May I have ease. And if there's no feeling present here as you're doing the practice, that is absolutely okay. Here, we're just connecting with the motivation, and the phrases are a great way to do that. And then simply let go of the phrases or that kind of awareness of the felt sense of compassion, and just allow your mind to rest for a moment. And you can notice what's come up as a result of doing the practice. Just that brief introduction to innate compassion. You can notice sensations in the body or thoughts in the mind. Simply being with what's happening during practice. All right, let's broaden into something more challenging. Bring to mind some difficulty that you're experiencing right now in your life. It might be your own response to events happening in the world. Again, choosing something that feels workable for you and not overwhelming. And so just bring that challenging situation, whatever associated emotion might be happening tied up with that, and just bring that to mind for a moment. And again, noticing the mind's response to this challenge, desire for it to be different. And once again, tapping into either phrases or if it feels better, that sort of connected felt sense of that motivation to be free from suffering. And just working with whatever feels right for you. May I be free from suffering. May there be ease. Again, connecting with this sense for ourselves first so that we can then expand it to others. Making sure that the mind is still connected with the experience. And in those moments where you might notice that the mind has wandered, simply reconnecting again to the phrases or that felt sense, that feeling of compassion, that motivation to be free from difficulty. Returning your mind again and again to reconnect to the practice with awareness. Letting go of the phrases and simply noticing what's come up in the mind and body. And just be with what's happening. Again, there may or may not be feelings present, and that isn't really the point. The point here is to connect with that underlying motivation to be free from difficulty. So, bringing to mind a group that is really suffering right now, whoever it may be, related to whatever's happening in the world, racial injustice, racism, things related to the pandemic, just bringing a group to mind, wishing them to be free from suffering and hardship. May you be free from suffering. May you be free from suffering. Customizing the phrases to whatever group you're working with in your mind, and take a few moments to generate compassion for this group that is suffering. Really listening to the wisdom within your practice. If at any point it feels overwhelming, just allow the mind to rest, step out of the compassion practice, and work with something that feels more resourcing. Allowing the mind to rest or working with some other awareness practice. So that's always available to you. Or you can continue generating compassion. Once again, letting go of the compassion practice and allowing the mind to rest. Notice what's come up as a result of the practice for a few moments. And let's expand our compassion practice even further to all beings, including us. May we all be free from harm. May we be free from pain. May we have peace and ease. Generating compassion for all beings for the next minute or so. Touching into this innate compassion for all beings, knowing that we have this wish, others have it too, even though we don't know them. This is our shared common humanity. May we all be free from suffering. All right, and then letting go of the practice and allowing the mind to rest. Notice what's come up for you as a result of doing this practice today. Generating the wish that our practice contributes to the well-being, ease, and freedom of suffering for all beings. And if your eyes have been closed, you can open them. All right, if you feel inspired to share with me something about your practice in the comments, perhaps it's the compassionate phrase that resonated the most with you today, or maybe even just a word about how you feel as a result of doing this practice. I find this practice has been really helpful for me in the midst of feeling like I'm not able to help. This is a way in which I've felt like I can be of benefit working with this, training my mind in this way, hoping that it has a ripple effect that ripples forward from here, extending into my relationships with people that I know and that I don't know. Really wishing to be a contributor of peace and compassion through my practice. So if you're feeling inspired to continue training your mind in this way, you can please join us on Thursday. We've got another guided practice on Thursday, but we also have an app that's freely available due to the generosity of our donors. Tryhealthyminds.org. You can download the Healthy Minds program app wherever you download your apps. And yeah, just continue working with your own mind in this way can just be incredibly beneficial in relationships with others. So thank you so much for joining me today. Please, if you feel inspired to share this on your social media, would love to give this practice access, allow this practice to be accessible to more people. And also let people know about the Healthy Minds program. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can receive alerts as to when our practices are going live. So wishing you freedom from suffering and pain, wishing you ease and peace. May all beings be free from suffering, and may